more than we're not. It's going to set us up for success, but you got to put the time in and study.
It's 74 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time in temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our 3 sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
It is day 1 of the Masters, so we'll continue to keep you updated with those Masters updates. Yesterday, Liam Cohen, Trevor Lawrence, and Foye Luakin met with the media as part of the offseason Phase 1 media availability. And today we found out that the Jaguars are going to host the draft party. Well, I guess
we kind of
fans
knew.
found out.
We may or may not have broken the news on this very program.
Fans found out, but yeah, maybe we did.
I had to apologize to one of the Jaguars.
No way.
Not the Jag, but a Jaguars member that not
official.
Yes, because I was like, I think. Because it leaked a little bit on that news story, and that part didn't get a ton of traction, but it was what I noticed. So I quote tweeted it, and then I said it on the show, and I was like, I'm sorry. I think I might have made this a problem.
Well, yes.
You were the reason that they were inundated with phone calls at the Lemon Bar, Taylor Dahl.
The official announcement did come out today. So, of course, in 2 weeks when the draft begins, it will be held at Lemon Bar and the Seahorse Oceanfront Inn. The Jaguars, as everyone knows, holds the 5th pick. The doors will open at 6 p.m. Programming begins at 7 p.m. There will be Jaguars players, Jacksonville performances from the Roar, the D-line, merchandise vendors, games, giveaways, and plus it's the Lemon Bar. So go for that, and you do have to have a ticket, so make sure that you register online. Just go to jaguars.com and you'll see where to go. And you do have to be 21 and up. I do have to give that disclaimer, but that's going to be an absolute blast, like I said, in 2 weeks. All right, yesterday, some big takeaways, Mia, as you went down to the Miller Electric Center, and we aired the press conference on our show, the 3 different ones. Biggest takeaways?
A lot to take away. A lot of ground was covered, certainly. I think most noteworthy were the explanations from both Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence with regards to footwork, the comments that Liam Cohen had shared with SiriusXM Radio while at the owners' meetings in West Palm Beach last week, and this idea of, is this a matter of Trevor has to overhaul everything with his technique? I guess the best place to start would be, let's hear from Trevor himself, RJ, on working with Liam Cohen on what exactly this new footwork is all about.
Yeah, just there's some things that, there's some things I've known about my footwork over the years of playing that I felt like have been a little bit of a weakness. So there's some things that we've talked about of just what are those things? What are we identifying as things to work on? And then the system is built around timing and tying your feet to your progression and playing on time, and so it allows you to get backside, allows you to get to check downs or whatever it may be, and you can feel comfortable playing on time. And more than any system I've ever learned, it's structured and based on that, and it's so everything's tied exactly to, all right, this route is on this timing, so then your next progression is off of this footwork, off this timing, so it all ties in perfect. You don't have multiple routes declaring at the same time, which is hard as a quarterback, because then you're sitting back there and you got to make a decision before really the guy's open or covered, So I think they've done a really good job with this system of really thinking through how does it tie into a quarterback's feet, and that's what we've been talking about. And it takes some work, and flipping my stance, just some little things like that are small that many people wouldn't notice, but it is. I have so many banked reps of the other way. I got to just get all these on my own and work them. So once camp comes around, I'm ready to go.
It's about rhythm and timing. Mm-hmm. And this idea of you take the snap, whether it's play action and you're turning your back to the playing field, or whether you are just dropping back and you're seeing everything. As the picture emerges, it's not, okay, now there's 4 people who are open or 2 people who are open and 2 are not. Gradually, reads become more open as the play itself progresses. And it is based upon 1, 2, step back, 1, 2, step back. I don't want to use the analogy that Kevin and I were throwing around last night at the house, but I'm going to. We're going from finger painting to Picasso. And that's with all due respect to Press Taylor, but it's to suggest, maybe not finger painting. That's not fair. It's comparatively to what's the spray painting, like when you like throw a bunch of different paints at the wall. What type of art is
Abstract?
that? Abstract.
Yeah.
As opposed to abstract, where there's just a lot of
Things you didn't know I know.
a lot of things. I'm very into Impressionism, so I could tell you a little bit more about that side of the art history world, but that's a story for another time. As opposed to a lot of blotches of paint, it's actually, okay, it actually is like Impressionism, where if you're up close to it, if you're up close to the painting, it looks like a million different blots. But as you back up, you say, oh, there's a reason that this is here because it actually makes this look like this, and this looks like this.
Does the pitch count give you any sort of nervousness leading into the spring? The fact that Liam did say that Trevor's going to be on a pitch count, and the shoulder that he injured is the left shoulder, and he is a right-handed quarterback?
I don't know if I'm concerned yet. Depending, I guess, how deep we're getting into it and how little we're seeing, then you'd start to have a few questions, I'm sure. But
I can't have two quarterbacks of the teams that I root for have non-throwing. I mean, obviously, Trevor is throwing, like we said.
And at least we know a little bit more about this situation, and they can tell us a little bit more about this one. But yeah, I think that, and I said this a couple weeks ago when I've heard both Liam Cohen, a lot of these young offensive mind head coaches, when you hear them talk about their offenses and their quarterbacks, they talk so much differently than what somebody like Doug Peterson, Press Taylor did, how they speak. And it's a lot of it is all of the little tiny steps that go into being a quarterback. And I think, I'm not saying Press and Doug weren't focusing on those things, because obviously when you're offensive minded guys, your mind is still going into the little intricate things. But these guys, like a Liam Cohen, like a Ben Johnson, like a Sean McVay, are way more vocal about the footwork and for the quarterback, but also the wide receivers. I've seen many interviews where these guys are like, every single step matters for the quarterback, every single step matters for the wide receiver. And that is where they start to focus of, okay, on second 2.5, your feet should be right here. And those little things those are kind of the basics of everything. But once you start picking up on those, which we've had the discussion about, we feel like maybe some of those were lost this last few years, which led into confidence issues, which led into other things, rushing plays when you maybe didn't have to. So I do think I love that now. It sucks that it took until year 5 to actually start talking about this and figuring it out with Trevor. But at least it's here, and we're to the point where we have a coach that has now recognized from the outside this guy could be really good, but there are things that need to be mechanically changed.
Obviously, none of us are quarterback gurus, but we can all notice when Trevor Lawrence, the past 2 seasons or so, when the pressure would get through the line, he would spin around, and usually he would spin into sacks, right? And so I think that's part of the footwork, too. It's not just the timing, which certainly that's a huge piece of it, but it's also what to do when that pressure starts to come. There are lots of quarterbacks who are pretty much statues who were still able to avoid the pressure because they knew what to do with their footwork.
Yeah, and I think that also bleeds into that fumble talk we've had too, because a lot of the situations where it was was similar, where it was maybe just wrong decision making because your feet aren't doing the right thing, which means your mind's not doing the right thing. And once those all kind of bleed together, and for Trevor, that just started to kind of spiral out of control at certain times. And so Liam Cohen identifying that this quickly, I think, is very positive.
And I'm not even going to go right to the idea of the offense not being entirely put on Trevor Lawrence's shoulder. We'll get to that soundbite here in just a second. I'm going to instead go to and pivot this conversation to, if there is a strong run game, that will aid your quarterback. And not this idea of, well, you have a generational quarterback. It doesn't matter what you're doing in any other facet of the game plan. As long as he's on the field, you'll be able to figure it out.
Are we taking Ashton Genty with the 5th pick overall?
No.
Because I did hear John Shipley tell Jaguars today the 3 names that he has: Mason Graham, Will Campbell, and Ashton Genty.
He also just told me as he left the room, shout out Shipley, that he's tired of having to hear this sort of dialogue because he's just ready for the draft to come here.
Oh, well, we're all ready for the draft, but he was like, do not be surprised, or I would not be surprised if the pick is Genty.
Let's hear from Trevor Lawrence, because it's not just about having a run game, Lauren and Taylor. It's about having a plan.
Definitely. 100%. I think it's not only just trying to run the ball. It's what's the plan. I think everyone tries to run the ball. I think everybody knows in football that's important. I mean, if you know football at all, you know that's important. So I think everybody knows that, but just from the little that we've gotten into, the plan to run the ball well, effectively, efficiently, the way we can adapt throughout games, throughout the season, figuring out what we're good at. Naturally, we're going to be better at certain things than we are at others. Those things, how you determine what the defense is going to do, how you see what they're doing to get yourself in the best play. There's just so much stuff that I'm excited to learn and get into that is kind of new for me. And it's more, I think, right now for us, it's going to be more to learn. It's going to be more work put in for all the guys of got to learn the system, because it's a tough system to learn, but it's going to help us play faster. It's going to help us be in the right play more than we're not. It's going to set us up for success, but you got to put the time in and study.
Again, it's more of a plan. It's one thing to say you want to run the ball. It's another thing to say, once again, kind of going back to the analogy of a painting, it's another thing to say there is a strategy behind what we are doing. Mm-hmm. And the way I phrased that question to Trevor yesterday was at your season-ending press conference, Trevor, he said, we haven't been able to run the ball the last 2-3 years. And so I said, do you feel like there are steps being taken to ensure that that's a reality? And that's where he followed up and said, not only are we trying to run the ball, there is a plan, a clear plan to run the ball. Now, maybe that does mean you draft Ashton Jeanty. Maybe that simply means that you are trying to add pieces that complement each other. And there is an emphasis on, look, I know we're in 1st and 10, but that shouldn't be the reason that we don't run the ball.
Yeah.
Just because of the yardage and the down and distance.
Yeah, I think there obviously still has to be strategy to it. And when you look at some of the teams that have been successful in recent years, and you look at, let's say the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens, I feel like, have always been pretty good at running the ball. A lot of that is Lamar Jackson and what he's able to do. But they also had to focus on, and that's one of the things that they did this last couple years, is making sure that Lamar also could throw the ball and was accurate and could make those plays when he was in the pocket at times and things like that. They had to work on those things, and that was a lot of the criticisms early on with Lamar. And now we're seeing Lamar have one of his best years this last year because they were able to do both, and they didn't just rely on being like, we can run the ball, so we will run the ball. They did other things. I would say the Eagles similar, and Jalen Hurts. That conversation was very the same type of scenario where you're like, great, you can run the ball, but you have to still be able to pass in this league, and you have to be able to know the timings and when it is smart to let go of the ball and when it's time to take off and when it's time to actually use your running backs in certain situations. And then you have other times like the Tennessee Titans and what they had with Derrick Henry all of those years and how it kind of started to fall apart a little bit because all they had was the run. You still have to have this passing offense in this league.
Which is also why some people are now saying, Chad Ryder among them from NFL.com on Jaguars Today yesterday, that Ashton Jeanty may go number 4 overall to the Patriots because Mike Vrabel loved what he had in Derrick Henry. Of course, one of the comps for Jeanty is Henry. I'm not saying that's absolutely what they're going to do, but it is a fascinating conversation of how the resurgence of the running backs took so long, but now they are at the forefront of people's minds. And even Pete Prisco is saying he loves this running back class and that Jeanty is special. And so if he really is going to be able to transform your run game, that's important. Look, I think Trevor's in a tricky spot when it comes to these conversations.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Doug, do you want a running back?
Well, but like Doug and Press last year, he's not going to.
He's never going to bash
slander them,
Yeah.
right? But
when they asked if he knew who was calling plays, that was like one of the most awkward moments I had watching Trevor because I could tell he was like,
I think
why do I have to do this right now?
I think it's Press. Yeah, and look, hey, he's not going to come to the podium yesterday and say like, man, the offense last year was so predictable. Really, the last 2 years, it was like a run, pass at times, right? Like he's not going to ever come out and say those things because he was raised in the manner of where you don't talk negatively about people. He didn't even really talk that negatively about Azeez Al-Shaair, who delivered one of the cheapest hits ever. So I just think it's when you have to juxtapose the past regime and this regime, it's tricky.
Hold up. Where'd you get a Derrick Henry comp for Jeanty? Because I've also heard LaDainian Tomlinson, Christian
there's
McCaffrey.
different ones.
Christian McCaffrey. Does this man have any one singular comp? Because I think we're just comparing him to, like, I heard Fred Taylor yesterday.
Great running back, pretty much.
I mean,
If he's Fred Taylor, bring him to Jacksonville right here, right now with the 5th pick overall. Look, comps, are all over the place, but I love them because it at least gives you an idea of what people who have studied the film think they can be in the league. All right, more on the Jaguars when we return. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Your home for Florida Gators baseball is 1010XL.
Gators and Tigers show their teeth for a weekend series in the Swamp starting tonight. Florida, Missouri at 7 on 1010 AM.
Call 904-500-COOL. Ideal conditions.
Ideal Conditions Heating and Air Conditioning is your go-to for all AC repairs and replacements. Just gas your AC. For exceptional service, call 904-500-COOL or visit idealconditionsjacks.com to schedule your estimate today.
Call 904-500-COOL.
Honk if you see us. Call for service.
Ideal Conditions.
Idealconditionsjacks.com.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
This is Mike Lynch, PGA Golf Professional. Take it from me. If you're dealing with an orthopedic issue, talk to the doctors at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where you're treated like a pro.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros. Thanks to all of you who have allowed us to be part of your recovery. Call us at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists if you ever have a need.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
I'm Max Fink. Join me for the Gator Report on 1010XL as I break down the latest storylines in Gator Nation.
Put together by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gators!
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you. Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Poker players, the Run Good Poker Series is coming to Best Bet Jacksonville from April 24th to May 4th with 10 poker events, including the $1,200 main event, hosting a $300,000 guaranteed prize pool, and event number 1, a $400 no-limit hold'em tourney with a $200,000 guarantee. The action is non-stop. One in, win your seat through satellite starting April 4th at Best Bet Jacksonville. For all the Run Good Series structures and details, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
There's a lot on the line in a divorce. Your home, savings, maybe even your kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce and the unexpected directions it can take, you need a partner you can count on. I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. Don't let divorce take more than it has to.
Offices in Jacksonville. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's attorneys. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Rick Julius, licensed in Pennsylvania only. Online at cordellcordell.com.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success. The Jacksonville Icemen have punched their ticket to the Kelly Cup playoffs in April. But first, the Icemen have an action-packed weekend with the Savannah Ghost Pirates. Friday and Saturday night at 7. Then it's the Orlando Solar Bears. Sunday at 3. All games at 5-Star Veterans Memorial Arena. Tickets at Ticketmaster, JacksIcemen.com, or call 904-602-PUCK. Iceman hockey is #FrozenFrenzy.
Your yard starting to look a little like a jungle? Well, it might be time for a little TLC. Or how about RTC, Russell Tree Care? At Russell Tree Care, they give your trees the perfect haircut. Whether it's trimming or removing, they'll make sure your yard looks its best, all while keeping safety as a top priority. Call Russell Tree Care today and let them take care of your trees. Russell Tree Care, 844-4Mr. Wood. That's 844-467-9663. Or visit RussellTreeCareLLC.com today. Your trees will thank you.
Lots of jewelry stores in the town center, but only one is locally owned, Beard's Diamonds.
We're the only local jewelry store at the town center.
That's Jacksonville's John Lupo, owner of Beard's for over 4 decades.
We're entrenched in Jacksonville, Florida.
In a sea of mega chain jewelers, John says it's easy to stand out because he's not handcuffed by a corporate handbook.
I am not beholden to a corporate structure, so we've got flexibility to do whatever we can and want, and we do.
And that includes lowering prices to undercut them every day.
Quality for quality, color for color, everything the same. We should be able to beat them hands down by minimum 20%. We go overseas ourselves. We know exactly what we're buying. This isn't getting marked up in a corporate structure. We will beat anybody's price anywhere.
So before you buy anything at one of those chains, get a second opinion at locally owned Beard's Diamonds. No corporate atmosphere, no corporate rules, no corporate high markups.
We want you to come shop us and you'll see a lot better price here.
Beard's Diamonds.
Everybody gets a good deal at Beard's.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Type of guy, getting to know him a little bit, and knowing that, hey, this is somebody we know we want to be a part of, right? We want to have this relationship, and now once we get him in the building, under our roof, getting to know each other a little bit more and creating those conversations, I think that was really what stood out.
Jaguars head coach Liam Cohen, when he was asked about why they were confident in giving Trayvon Walker the 5th-year option, they exercised that earlier this week. And that was his answer. Yeah, they know what he can do. And then that, of course, leads to the question of what about Devin Lloyd? Here's Liam Cohen on if they have plans to pick up the linebacker's 5th-year option.
No plans right now in terms of we're having those conversations, getting used to the player, right? We just got to get used to him a little bit and get to know him a little bit. We're excited about him. Guy that we see we can do some things with. Like, we do feel excited about some of his versatility and experience. So some of those conversations, they'll be open and honest and communicated.
So we have to get to know Devin Lloyd, but we already know Trayvon Walker. That was, I thought, a very interesting takeaway from yesterday. By the way, quick Masters update. Steven Jaeger from Germany is 4 under. He sits alone atop the leaderboard.
Ultimately, Liam Cohen can't stand there and say, we're not going to pay $14.1 million on the 5th-year option to a linebacker who we don't even know if he, like, what exactly
he can or
right, he can or can't do.
Whereas, we might be taking Jalen Walker.
Right.
So there's that.
Correct. Whereas we know who Trayvon Walker is. We know what he can provide, even though we may not personally know him. Mm-hmm. We know what he is capable of from watching the tape and from hearing what we have heard from people who were in the building last year. And so, he can't come out and say that, but that's why I had to ask the follow-up. And I was like, well, you haven't met Trayvon until yesterday either, and you gave him the 5th year. So
he's like, shut up, Mia.
The film doesn't lie. That's for sure. And for people who don't remember, the Jaguars have 6 picks in the top 4 rounds, right? So there's a lot of different ways that they can go about using this draft capital.
Yeah, and I said it yesterday where I felt like at the end of the draft, they would reevaluate the Devin Lloyd situation and take a look at what they were able to get, where they were able to get it, how quickly, whatever linebacker they do get could be on the field, what they're seeing out of that. Because to me, they may see like bits of Lloyd that they like, but not enough of Lloyd to make that decision right now before they know what the draft looks like.
Right, and we've discussed it. Devin Lloyd in coverage has been a liability, and with Anthony Campanelli's new scheme, what does he think of Devin Lloyd? Right now, all they're telling us is we're not sure.
Yeah.
And when the draft is over, we will have so many more answers, which is why when you work in this business, the NFL draft, in October feels so far away, and now we're only 2 weeks away, and we have so much information that we're going to glean.
I was dying laughing last night, though, because Rick said he could run a route and Devin Lloyd wouldn't be able to.
Ouch, Baloo. Ouch.
I'm not going to comment on that. Instead, I'll just simply say...
I just want to see Rick run a route, kind of.
I'll say what
he was a tri-sport athlete in college.
What do we got? Slot fade for Rick? I mean, come on, we're going to do a nice little over with Rick Ballou cutting across the field. Come on now. What I do know, what we all know to be fact now is that Foye Oluokun has not seen the viral clip of Anthony Campanile affectionately referring to ass whooping as a universal language on HBO's Hard Knocks. Here is Foye, and RJ, you can tie the two together right off the top of what Foye Oluokun's initial impressions of his new defensive coordinator are, as well as if he has ever had a coach quite like Anthony Campanelli?
I don't think so. I mean, he a Northeastern dude. I've had some, maybe in like college and stuff. I don't think a coach though. But I've seen personality similar, but not, at the coaching level. It's really cool though. Like I love his energy that he brings and the passion that he talks with. I feel like it's going to be contagious for the defense. He's cool. I mean, like I said, these coaches got they got a great personality and a lot of good energy. So I think they're very direct. I think they're very relatable, but they always they shoot it straight, if that makes sense. So I'm excited to be around people like that because I don't like shying away from what needs to be said or what I need to do, but also like allows for a growth mindset. Like if I feel like I'm seeing something I don't feel because it's so honest of a relationship between us, or it will be, I can go to them and say and they're really going to take that into account. And but they're always mean. They always want the best for me because they want the best for the team. They're always going to relay exactly what they're meaning. So I'm excited to be around him.
One more from Foye I wanted to get to because I do think we have briefly discussed this, but not at length. And that is on this new strength and conditioning staff.
Yeah, it's good energy. Like, that's one thing all the way. Especially after the first 2 days I just worked out with him. If they're that same person every day, it's going to be great for the team. He's going to grind us. I think it's going to be so good for us going forward. We just got to have a growth mentality to understand that just because we feel a little tired today, we keep on this path, like, he's going to be amazing. By the end of OTA, by the end of training camp, I'm excited for where this team can go lifting with him and stuff. But he's working us, so I'm excited.
Look, said Scott, great dude, but ultimately, largely, outside of maybe some tweaking during the 1 year of he who must not be named, Urban Meyer, the strength and conditioning staff for your Jacksonville Jaguars had been the same since 2012. Lauren, who was the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2012?
Mike Mularkey.
Okay. Just file that one away.
I do think, too, the Bills fandom was rocked, Bills Mafia, when they found out that Eric Ciano was fired, the longtime strength and conditioning coach for the Bills. I remember Ryan O'Halloran and lots of other people who cover the Bills being just so surprised when that news broke on February 15th. So I do think that's a huge part of football, right? Like you lose sight of, you have to have a great medical staff for sure. I think the Jaguars do. You also absolutely have to have a really good strength and conditioning staff.
Yeah, and I think we've had the conversations of like the toughness and wanting to get the dog player back and the dog back in general and having that, what is the word Liam used in the beginning, that being savages. But I liked one of the things that Liam said earlier, and it kind of relates to this too. And he was talking about how, things will be tough, but he was talking about not just the actual practices being tough, but he said meetings should be tough. You're learning new information and that should be difficult. And when things are hard, you get tougher. I loved that so much because when we go back, Mia, we talked about this a lot that couple years ago about when the defensive staff was fired. And it wasn't so much that we were saying they weren't like practicing, like during practices weren't making them do things. It was more so off the field, the learning, those
here's
meetings.
Your iPad, here's your homework, go home and do it.
And make it hard on them. We didn't, that was never there. And so I think we've seen the years where they're like, man, this is one of the toughest practices we've had in a long time. And everyone would take that and be like, oh, this defense is going to be so good. And it doesn't always work that way because it needs to be tough in all aspects. You need to make it hard for them to be, when he says hard things make you tougher. And when you're in the room, when you're in that meeting room and you're having these conversations, like Foye just said, that maybe not the easiest conversations, but you need those to get better.
And I enjoyed that he paired that explanation with the words growth mindset, because I can tell you in the McVay, Liam Cohen, Kyle Shanahan, Kevin O'Connell circle of trust, they talk about growth mindset a lot. I can tell you that from personal experience talking to many people in that inner circle. And I know that is something that Foye values. That's how he approaches life, let alone his football career. And so that's why I think for guys like him, and Gus Logan, I talked about this on the Duval Rundown podcast this morning, the word I keep coming back to is maniacal. And I don't mean maniacal in that you're a maniac and you're running all over the place. I mean, you are maniacal in that all you think about is football and how you can get better and how you can improve and what can be the most uncomfortable situation that I can put myself in so I can grow. And also, I'm not afraid to ask the questions and to push further. And if I don't agree with something, I'm not afraid to have that conversation because the person I'm speaking to has the same exact belief system as me. I don't believe that was always the case last year. I think you had some people who obviously cared about football. They cared about their jobs. They cared about the people they worked with. Maybe to the point where because they cared so much, they didn't want to rock the boat too much. And that is not an answer for progress.
You know who I want to hear from sooner rather than later is Andrew Wingard, Dewey, because he's
Honestly,
always
yeah.
been one of the most candid guys.
Oh, yeah.
And it fires people up for sure, fires fans up. But I think, behind closed doors, he also is not afraid to get after it. So I wonder now the difference that he's seeing in those buzzwords that we talk about in culture. And obviously they haven't been around these guys, James and Liam, that much yet. But just the difference now that Tony Baselli is there. And it really feels, at least from the outside, and certainly you were there yesterday, Mia, it feels like there is a cohesion and there is going to be a level of exhaustion from these Jags players, even through OTAs, even though they're not hitting one another, but because of the mental aspect, they're actually going to be pushing one another.
I also, and look, this is part of why Tony Baselli took this role, and it's part of why the role was created.
Right.
That Liam Cohen referenced that there was a culture meeting, not just with the team and the staff and the people in the Miller Electric Center, but also everyone at Everbank Stadium across all departments. And this is the way the whole organization is rowing, and you're either on the boat or you're not on the boat. And that was huge for that to be revealed and to know that that occurred for me, because that has been the critique. Was everyone actually, as much as we were told that Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson were aligned and the building was aligned, was everyone downtown actually on the same page?
I think now know aligned means lying.
I think that alignment
Lying
was a
about
little.
alignment.
One of the tires were off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, alignment, suspension.
By the way, the best way to get
car stuff.
I don't want to ever pay for alignment when I go to the dealer, because I'm like, what do I have to
You can feel it when your wheels pull into the
well,
left.
if you get
and
new
that's
tires,
what's been happening.
If you get new tires, you get alignment with it. I was like, oh, okay. It's probably the same exact price, but it makes me feel better about myself.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right, yesterday I gave y'all a name to watch out for when it comes to the number 5 overall pick in Jalen Walker from Georgia. What say Taylor? What say Mia? That's on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Now, a Masters update on 1010XL, brought to you by TopDressing.com and St. John's Middle School Athletic Association.
From the Augusta National Golf Club, Westwood One Sports presents this special report on the Masters. I'm Ted Emmerich. Afternoon wave about to join the rest of the field on the course in the first round. Ludvig Åberg an hour away from teeing off. The young Swede already right at home at Augusta National. He tied for second last year at his first ever major start. Åberg feels he's primed for something even better this year.
I do feel comfortable. I feel like the experiences that I've had in the last 12 months have helped me to get to this point in my career, and it's still really hard. It's still, Augusta's still a really hard place to go and play at, and but I like it. It demands a lot of creativity. It demands a lot of shot shaping, and the greens are obviously the way they are, and it's just a really cool place to come play golf at.
Åberg does have a win this season at Tiger Woods tournament that moved from Riviera to Torrey Pines due to the Southern California wildfires. You're listening to coverage of the 2025 Masters on Westwood One.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Steven Yeager playing his first springtime Masters, and he's alone atop the leaderboard, sponsored by Fisher Investments. Here in the first round, Yeager at 4 under par. He missed the cut 5 years ago at the only fall Masters. Back this year, Yeager has 4 birdies, 10 holes, no bogeys as he heads toward Amen Corner. Aaron Rai bogeyed 11, his first bogey of the day, to drop to 3 under, 1 back here in the first round. At 2 under, Scotty Scheffler, winner of 2 of the last 3 Masters, Masters. He gets up and down from out of the bunker at 7, made his par there. So Scheffler 2 back. Also at 2 under, Joaquin Niemann, who's through 8 holes. Tyrrell Hatton is through 7, like Scheffler. Also Brian Campbell and Matt McCarty very early in their rounds. At 1 under par, Will Zalatoris through 12. Fred Couples at 65 years old is through 10, along with Harris English, Corey Connors, and Brian Harmon. From Augusta, I'm Ted Emmerich, Westwood One Sports.
Mia here. I'm just going to cut to the chase, folks. What you really want to know is why buy from Arlington Toyota? Well, you're in luck because I have over 800 reasons why. Like the fact that Arlington has over 800 vehicles to choose from, all on one lot, all at Arlington. And here's 60 more reasons, as in 60 days to love your purchase or exchange it for one that you do. Seriously, I know it sounds too good to be true, but it's not. Picture it. You buy it, drive it everywhere for 60 days, decide you love it or decide you don't, and exchange it. Now, that's some test drive. And here's even more reasons why, like 0 down and just $288 per month for a pre-owned 2022 Toyota Corolla. Or you can even choose no payments till August 2025. Yep, you heard that right. No payments till August 2025 at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Now you know why you need to buy from Arlington. Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter mile east of 295, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm dedicated to helping businesses manage risk, maximize opportunities, and move their company forward. Jimerson Burr attorneys are business-oriented lawyers, equally comfortable as community leaders, private transaction counselors, or courtroom advocates. If you have a legal issue of any kind affecting your business, contact the firm at 389-0050 or jimersonfirm.com.
An ACL tear can be a devastating injury with prolonged pain and rehabilitation. Hi, I'm Dr. George Bari. I'm a sports medicine orthopedic surgeon who grew up right here in Jacksonville and then went on to train with the world-renowned Dr. James Andrews. At Bari Orthopedics, we use the most current techniques to get you back in the field with less pain and quicker rehabilitation. We treat all types of sports injuries with the newest techniques available. Please call us for consultation or visit BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
The magical basketball ride continues for Gators fans this weekend, and now you can remember all 34 Gators wins with a full-size Season to Remember basketball for only $149.95, featuring scores of every game along with embossed logos, championship history, and more on panels of the ball. Order now. Get one of only 5,000 licensed balls. Call 800-345-2868, 800-345-2868, or visit nikcosports.com.
Imagine enjoying the beautiful days of summer in North Florida, relaxing in your enclosed patio, free from bugs and debris. I'm Josh Molina, owner of River City Screens. We are your trusted local screen experts. We pride ourselves in our craftsmanship and our relationships, because with Florida's unpredictable weather, you want someone dependable and reliable to show up for you every time. New construction or repairs, call River City Screens, 904-923-3544.
License number SCC 131153483.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On April 10, 2005, at the 69th U.S. Masters Tournament Augusta National, legendary golfer Tiger Woods wins his 4th green jacket on the first hole of a playoff with Chris DeMarco.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
The team at Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to book your next round of golf with us. At Hidden Hills, we love the game, and we'll provide you with a memorable golf experience at one of the most unique golf courses in North Florida. Check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com.
Enjoy a great day of golf and support Eagles View Academy Athletics. Friday, May 2nd at the newly renovated Bent Creek Golf Course. 8:30 shotgun start, best ball format. Find out more at EVAWarriorsathletics.com.
At the First Coast YMCA, you'll find much more than just a gym. We offer many ways to help you become more active, reach your weight loss goals, and find your inner strength. Membership at the Y includes state-of-the-art facilities, a huge variety of fitness classes, classes, and programs for all ages. It's easy to join the Y since it's affordable for all incomes. The Y is a great place to make connections and experience something new. Visit the YMCA near you or online at fcymca.org.
Keeping kids active is a full-time job for parents. Look no further, though, than I-9 Sports, covering Duval, St. John's, and Clay to get your youngster in the game. Spring and summer registration open right now for flag football, soccer, t-ball, and basketball. Plus, all new girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows. I-9 Sports with fields and gyms all over 3 counties. And the best thing is I-9 Sports offers sports year-round so kids can always find a sport to play. i9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code.
David here with Royal Pest Services. Man, don't let your yard be torn up by that heavy aeration machine this spring. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to learn more about our granular aeration. Broadcast throughout the tree and shrubs to break up that compacted soil. Visit RoyalPestServices.com.
A chipped windshield can turn into a big problem fast. Lauren Brooks here. Trust Novus Glass of Jacksonville for expert repair and replacement. Call 904-289-2905 for Novus Glass in Orange Park. 904-289-2905.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Will the Jaguars give a country boy a call with the 5th pick overall? I don't know who fits into the country boy category from this draft, but it's a question that we can ask as of now when we are 2 weeks away. The draft begins, as always, around 8 p.m. So I would imagine with 10 minutes on the clock for each team, the Jaguars will pick before 9 p.m. That's what I would imagine.
Yes.
If they are picking at 5 overall, I would imagine they pick a little before 9 p.m.
Having put together our multimedia plan, that's at least what my current plan says, Lauren.
Right.
So
last year, I know everyone was excited. You know, it takes a while, it feels like, and you get to the pick 17, and then you see the Jaguars trade back.
You're like, oh my gosh.
Especially the guys on the broadcast are like so excited to get to that point, and then yes.
Well, and
takes
especially
forever.
because last year's draft was crazy in the sense of it took forever for a defensive player to finally come off the board. There was all of these quarterbacks, all of these wide receivers,
Yeah,
and
the
everyone
Michael
was like,
Penix
holy
at
crap.
8 was
Yeah.
just-
So last
crazy.
year's draft was wild. But I do think some of them seemed like we had for a good idea throughout of like, okay, these teams might do this. This year is kind of crazy because you really don't know how people are evaluating these quarterbacks right now. You really don't know. The Ashton Genty conversation is going to continue to be a big one. Some of the tackles are going to continue to be a big one. That Abdul Carter, I think, is still super interesting because when we talked to the Browns guy, he said it looked like more Travis Hunter because they wanted wide receiver. So I think it's going to be a little bit more of a shakeup up top than maybe some people think.
I'm starting to feel more confident on picks 1 through 3. I think it goes Cam Ward to the Titans. I think it goes Travis Hunter to the Browns. And I think it goes Abdul Carter to the Giants. That's what... for the here and now, now in 2 weeks, I may tell you it's changed again. But that's where, in doing all the research that we do, that's where I'm leaning.
And then it just goes crazy.
And then it's pick 4 and beyond that it absolutely goes crazy.
1 through 2 is
1 through 2.
1 through 2. 1 through 2. I can tell you those two. Like, I mean, unless trust me. Like I've had people be yes.
Yeah,
they're looking for reasons to
we
not.
got it knocked out.
They're at a point where they're looking for reasons to not take those two players.
Oh yeah.
So I can tell you that on good authority. And so if that's the point that we're at, those are the 2 picks: Cam Ward at the top, and then Travis Hunter at 2.
By the way, when it comes to the Masters, Steven Yeager is still leading. It was Aaron Wright earlier, but he's fallen off. But now Scotty Scheffler. So Yeager's 4 under, Scheffler now 3 under. So certainly keep an eye on Scotty, and we'll provide you with updates throughout the show. Yesterday I said edge out of Georgia, Jalen Walker is a guy to keep your eye on as far as with the Jaguars' 5th pick overall. It just seems like people that are insiders, but also other people outside of Jacksonville are mocking Jalen to the Jaguars now. Taylor, who would you say is a name to keep an eye on?
Yeah, I'm going to go beyond that.
You mean not talk about 5? We're done with 5.
I'm going to move on from 5 for a little bit, but it's a name that I have grown to. And I came in the office a few days ago or maybe last week and told Mia I'm falling in love with this player for the Jaguars, and it's safety out of Texas, Andrew Makuba. I just think that everything. Number one, you guys know I do not like the safety room. I didn't like it at the end of last year. Even looking at it now, I was looking at the depth chart. I think it's a lot of just all right players. I still think it's a bunch of guys that are just, sorry, Andrew Wingard, I love you. But I just think that, to me, it's guys that can maybe get you by. But if you're trying to build a defensive back room for the future, I think it's an important thing that you have to address. And I don't know if there's any safety on this roster right now that I'm looking at and saying, oh, I want this guy for the next 10 years. Andrew
Where
Makuba,
are you drafting him?
So everyone says probably the third round.
70,
so you have
70
two
or
picks in the
88,
third
yep.
round. You can use one of those. Some people say he'll go pretty early. I've talked to others that say he'll be there late in the third and he'll be like an absolute steal if you can get him there. But one of the things that I really like when you're talking about defensive back players, whether that's safeties or corners, are ones that through high school played a lot of both sides of the ball, because I just feel like they have a different vision for the field when that's the case. And this is somebody who had that. He played in Texas. He played high school in Texas, grew up playing on the offensive side of the ball, was a wide receiver, was actually offensive player of the year for his district in high school in Texas, but at the same time had like 60 tackles, 6 interceptions, 4 forced fumbles on the defensive side of the ball. So to me, when you see guys like that, they just have a different view of what you can see on the field. And then he goes and he's at Clemson to start his career. At Clemson, as a rookie, he was rookie of the ACC Rookie of the Year defensively. So automatically he gets into college and is already playing at a very high level. And then he's like, oh, he switches over to Texas and then he plays in the SEC this year. And people were kind of wondering how that up in competition level was going to kind of factor in. And honestly, he got better. And so to me, when you look at that, he's one of the safeties where he's super explosive. He's fast. The change of direction they talk about, where he's almost like nagging to wide receivers because he can change so quickly because of his speed and the way he can kind of the ball hawk mentality. He led the SEC in interceptions this last year for that safety position. He's super versatile. He's took a ton of snaps at deep safety. He's played in the box. He's played in the slot. So it's one of these guys that you have. He's so versatile. You can play him wherever, and all of the boxes are checked for me when it comes to somebody like this. And when even personality wise, if we want to go to that side, everybody I've talked to said he's one of the best people in the locker room too. But once he steps on the field, that competitive switch kind of turns on too. And so I just think that when you talk about a guy like that who's really good at baiting quarterbacks too, and that's something that I feel like we haven't seen here much, especially in the safety room, of really egging him on, where sometimes you're looking and you're like, he doesn't look like he's in the right spot, and the next thing you know, the ball's going straight into his hands.
And it's supposed to be Cisco, by the way.
And that's what I was hoping this last year we would see, and we just didn't.
Yeah.
The argument, or not the argument, the word on the street, I guess, and I don't know if Andrew Makuba ever actually openly said this, was that he didn't feel he was challenged enough
in the
Clemson,
ACC,
in the ACC and at Clemson, and that's part of why he went to Texas. Which you can define that as intangibly rich if you want to. We did dive a little bit deeper into Makuba too. So if you're looking for more, you can head on over to the 1010XL Jaguars channel and go to Duval Rundown when we broke down safeties last Thursday.
Yeah, it's a great description. I would then call him like Travis Hunter light. Even though he didn't play receiver in college, it's certainly a guy that's played, at, like you said, both sides of the ball. And if the Jaguars don't address safety, I will be shocked.
Me too.
I will be 100% shocked.
Even though there's like 7 on the roster.
Right. There's 7 on the roster, but
a lot of special teams guys.
Yeah. And again, the history of the Los Angeles Rams is not necessarily littered with day 2 or day 1 defensive back selections. Cam Kitchens was the 100th overall pick last year, and that was the highest pick in that secondary last year for LA. And that's not to say that James Gladstone's going to follow the same exact blueprint as he and Les Snead did over the last 4 to 5, I guess he was a scouting director 6 years, the last 6 to 9 years. Nice. So
because I think it also matters what Campanile thinks and wants and sees. Also, he's in Gladstone.
And there's also, to that point, there's an argument to be made, and we talked about this morning on the pod as well. 3 of the 5 candidates for defense coordinator had Brian Flores ties, including Anthony Campanile. And so that's where I look at the Vikings and I say, okay, that's a secondary that certainly having Byron Murphy, certainly having a veteran in Harrison Smith benefited them. It looks a lot different than it did last season, but it wasn't like they had first round, second round defensive backs. They had guys where they could simulate and create pressure via both a strong linebacking core and by getting after the quarterback with a defensive front. But even then, we had questions, Lauren, about Jonathan Grenard. Was he a one-hit wonder with the Houston Texans? Was this actually sustainable? Could he go to Minnesota? And could he do what he did in his final season in H-Town? And obviously he did. Is that because of the player? Is that because of the scheme? And I believe that it's a little bit of both with Grenard, but I think the scheme especially played a role there. And that's why I look at this and I say, pull up their depth chart right now, folks. If you're sitting on your computer right now, pull up the Vikings depth chart. I know it's this year's, not last year's, but the sentiment holds because Brian Flores is still the defense coordinator there. Yeah. It's not like you have any marquee names in that secondary. Like Isaiah Rodgers was like their big free agent signing, and I don't think he's even going to be the starter when all is said and done. Opposite, and even then, Najee Thompson right now is slotted in as the other starter at corner for the Vikings. So point being, that is why I am fascinated to see if the secondary actually will be a priority on day 1 and day 2.
All right, Mia, your name to keep an eye on and what pick?
Which one do you want? What position do you want?
We have about a minute.
You tell me what position you want, I'll give you a name.
Let's go wide receiver.
Okay, wide receiver. Jack Betch has obviously been the apple of my eye for quite some time. Not just because I know everyone wants to comp him to Cooper Kupp because he is a white wide receiver who primarily is a big slot. But I truly believe he showcased inside-outside versatility. He lined up at tight end at times in his final season at LSU. Yes, he was once upon a time teammates with Brian Thomas Jr. Certainly, he is a name to watch for, but I would also introduce Isaac Tesla out of Arkansas, whose stock continues to climb. A guy who began his career at a Division II school in Hillsdale College, where his father also played, and someone who the testing was off the charts at the combine. There are those who believe when you look at him, well, the measurables, the speed, it all checks off. So why was the production not there? I mean, Lauren, you followed the SEC. What's Arkansas's quarterback situation been the last 3 years?
Yeah.
Not great, Bob. Gif. And so that's why I would encourage anyone to kind of go back and watch his tape a little bit. The yards after the catch are awesome. Certainly the yards per reception also eye-popping, and I also think it's going to be important that even if you were to draft, let's say, a Jack Betch, I don't know that he plays that big slot role nearly as much as maybe in a different organization, not just because Brian Thomas Jr. is going to get more snaps in the slot, but because Parker Washington is still here as well, and he is more of that traditional slot player.
And as we know, Jack Betch is intangibly rich, so he's certainly a player that the Jaguars could be looking at and have circled on their board. What's fascinating, real quick, going back to the pick number 5, Matthew Golden is now, as you see it, rising and being considered the best receiver of this class, ahead of a guy like Tet McMillan, certainly Luther Burden. It's just, the closer we get to the draft, the more people shake things up, but also I feel like the more film that they absorb, and so you do see those rankings change a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that my critique of Golden, and I know I was listening to friends of the show, Trevor Sikkema and Connor Rogers this morning, and their knock is the same as mine, which is the body language on Luther Burden wasn't great in his final season at Mizzou, when obviously things were going a bit awry. Let's be real, you're going to face some adversity in the National Football League. And with Matthew Golden, I just don't get this alpha feeling from him. Not that he would have to be a number 1 wide receiver here in Jacksonville, because you have Brian Thomas Jr., who, for what it's worth, there were plenty of folks who watched him last year and said during the pre-draft process, I don't know if he has that edge. Yeah. Neighbors is the one who's talkative and plays with that demeanor. And we were all proved wrong because Brian Thomas Jr. is clearly an alpha. And so
just because he's quiet doesn't mean he's not
right.
An alpha.
I don't want to dismiss that, but I think like the fact that Golden's ascension even shocked Steve Sarkisian, who was stunned to see him run a 4.29 at the combine. That for me is a little bit of like your coach and your strength and conditioning head coach, like were in the booth and they had no idea that this was going to happen. Like that's, I mean, maybe that's a little bit of a red flag that I'm reading too much into, like so many.
Yeah, that's what happens this time of year.
Yeah, I think, and a lot of people, I literally just did a Texas podcast yesterday, and I think there was shock because everyone thought that Isaiah Bond was going to be faster. And
Isaiah Bond told everyone
he was going to be faster. But that's because in game, and that's the difference with a Matthew Golden is the kind of guy, he still has the speed, obviously, he's fast. Maybe in certain situations it didn't show up more because he's just such a crisp route runner. And I think that sometimes those route runners their speed doesn't show as much because they are so focused on angles and all of the other things that go into running those routes. But he can be a burner and he can be that deep threat. And I really personally like Matthew Golden.
Well, you're going to have to get him early, apparently, according to draft experts. All right, when we come back, we're going to get it to college basketball. Not the topic that you think. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Now, a Masters update on 1010XL, brought to you by TopDressing.com and St. John's Middle School Athletic Association.
From From the Augusta National Golf Club, Westwood One Sports presents this special report on the Masters. I'm Ted Emmerich. Everything looked so easy for Rory McIlroy early in his career until it wasn't. It's been more than a decade since his last major title now, and McIlroy's had his heart broken numerous times, think last year at the U.S. Open. But once again, he's ready to start the chase for the green jacket to complete the career Grand Slam.
When you have a long career, like I have had, luckily, you sort of just learn to roll with the punches, the good times, the bad times, knowing that, you know, if you do the right work and you practice the right way, that you know, those disappointments will, you know, turn into good times again pretty soon.
Jack Nicklaus said he had lunch with McIlroy this week and asked him about his shot-by-shot strategy. Rory took him through it. Jack didn't say a word, and at the end, Nicklaus said, "I wouldn't change a thing." Jack thinks this is McIlroy's year. Rory tees off in less than a half hour. You're listening to coverage of the 2025 Masters on Westwood One.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
First round at the 89th Masters, sunny skies, just under 70 degrees, a wind of about 10 miles per hour from the south. Steven Jaeger from Germany is in the lead as he works through Amen Corner. 4 under today through 12, not a single bogey on the card. Scotty Scheffler now in second at 3 under after a creative third shot at the par 5/8. He landed in a divot off the green with his second, punched out, caught the slope on the back of the green and rolled it to 15 feet. He drilled that putt for birdie. Scheffler eyeing his third Masters title in 4 years. Only Jack Nicklaus has won 3 out of 4. That was 1963, 65, and 66. Also at 3 under and 1 back, Tyrrell Hatton, who had a birdie of his own at number 8. Joaquin Niemann, Jordan Spieth, Laurie Cantor, Matt McCarty, and Justin Rose, all at 2 under par, 2 back. From Augusta, I'm Ted Emmerich, Westwood One Sports.
Mia here. Summer is just around the corner. Is your air conditioning unit ready to handle the heat? There is one way to find out, and it doesn't cost you a penny. My friends at Duck Duck Air Conditioning are hooking up all of our 1010XL listeners with a free inspection. Give them a call to schedule now, 904-862-6769. And if you need any repairs, they'll provide a free estimate to ensure your system is ready for that Florida heat. Call Duck Duck Air Conditioning at 904-862-6769 and be sure to tell them you want the free AC inspection you heard about on 1010XL.
At Hurricane Grill and Wings, every day feels like the weekend. Fresh, never frozen chicken wings, tossed in over 30 bold flavors, paired with ice-cold beer and handcrafted cocktails, all in a laid-back, beachy atmosphere. And with every game on the big screens, it's the ultimate escape. And you're home for sports, too. Great food, cold drinks, and all the games. That's Hurricane Grill and Wings. Escape the ordinary and find your spot at hurricanewings.com.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Pella Windows and Doors.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
If someone you love needs a pick-me-up, then it's time to get serious about it and send the McCune Floral Arrangement. RJ here with 1010XL, and you'll be assured of a quality delivery. That's for sure. Log on and order online at CuneFlowers.com.
With 50 years of fabrication expertise in towing products, the family at Cannons of Jacksonville can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Ackerman Urology has 4 convenient locations providing advanced urological care to improve men's health and sexual vitality. Don't suffer through prostate, bladder, or kidney issues. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
Hello, Jacksonville. This is John Johnson with First Coast Recycling. We buy junk cars. If you have a car or a truck that you're looking to get rid of, then look no further. If you absolutely, positively have to get that car out of there, accept no substitutes. Fast cash is at your fingertips. Just call First Coast Recycling at 904-294-1659 today for a quick and easy quote. Come on, let's take your driveway back.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. There was a time when if you handed me a bread basket at a restaurant, you better watch your fingers. Pizza, pasta, bread, carbs were absolutely my weakness. I'd be lying if I said they didn't have me hooked. Then Awaken 180 came into my life. I've been down every diet road there is, but this is different. It's not just another diet. It's a total reset of how you see food. You know that carb craving that we all accepted as normal? That's gone for me now. Don't get me wrong. I still enjoy the good stuff, but here's the difference. I no longer feel like I need them. So when the server puts that bread basket on the table, I just smile, sit back, and say, nah, I'm good. That feeling of control is all thanks to Awaken 180. I lost 40 pounds in 9 weeks on Awaken 180. Hacker lost more than 110. Baloo is on his way, and you can lose whatever you want to lose. It doesn't matter what your goal weight is. Awaken 180 weight loss will get you there quickly and safely. It's a clear path to success without disappointment. Awaken 180 has changed my life, and it will change yours too. Give them a call at 844-346-1800 or go to awaken180weightloss.com. Trust me, you'll thank yourself.
It's heating up at Ride Now Jacksonville. Get water adventure ready with the 2024 Yamaha AR195 boat. With its supercharged engine, innovative design, and water sports features, the Yamaha AR195 is ready for anything you throw at it. Originally $46,000, now just $36,000. Oversized in-floor storage for wakeboards and extra gear, deck and hull design that maximizes space, comfort, and versatility like no other 19-foot boat. Ride Now Jacksonville on Blanding Boulevard. We'll meet or beat any price on all 2024 and prior models.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball is home at the newly renovated 5-Star Ballpark this week and weekend. Join us tonight for Coors Light Thirsty Thursday and JWB Night. Fireworks tomorrow and Saturday. Fireworks presented by Ascension St. Vincent's on Hip Hop Night. Catch on the field before Family Sunday. Tickets start at just $5. JackShrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable family fun.
For the greenest, luscious lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by Clay Solar Installation Partners. The Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp secured a 2-1 victory over the Charlotte Knights at 5-Star Ballpark yesterday. Starting pitcher Jason Junk delivered an outstanding performance, throwing 6 scoreless innings and recording a career-high 10 strikeouts. The Jumbo Shrimp's bullpen maintained the lead with relievers effectively closing out the game. Game 3 will be tonight with Thirsty Thursday down at the ballpark at 7:05. The Florida Gators baseball team get ready to welcome the Missouri Tigers to the Condren Family Ballpark for a 3-game series beginning tonight, with series openers set for 7 o'clock. The Gators lead the overall series between the two, 26-7. Starting on the mound for the Gators tonight will be right-handed pitcher Liam Peterson going against Missouri Tigers pitcher Brady Keelenbrink. Gators and Tigers first pitch at 7. Catch the game live on 10:10 a.m. It's 75 degrees at 102. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010 10XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Tonight, will I awake? Remember how the coffee made us shake on those long drives. One more.
I'm going to guess Taylor Dahl added this song to the Helmets and Heels playlist. Who is this?
This is All Time Low is the band name. Yeah, this song is very old, but very good.
We could do an entire 2-hour show on bands that Taylor loves that
Nobody else has probably heard of.
People have never heard of. Yeah, absolutely. Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, or Jay Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this opening round of the Masters. Steven Yeager still in the lead at 4 under, but we have a 3-way tie now with Scotty Scheffler, Tyrrell Hatton, and Justin Rose all at 3 under. So a 3-way tie for second place. Currently continue to give you Masters updates throughout the day here on the Superstation. All right, ladies, just a few years ago, before most people knew the name Todd Golden, the head coach at the University of Florida for the men's basketball program was Mike White. He, of course, heard the chatter around all of Gainesville. He has 5 children, and his children at school were getting bullied, verbally abused, I should say, not physically, that their dad was not a good basketball coach and he should not be the men's basketball coach at the University of Florida anymore. And Mike White finally had enough and he took his talents to Athens, Georgia to leave for, yes, Florida's biggest rival in Georgia. Not maybe Florida's biggest rival in basketball, that would be Kentucky, but you know what I mean. So a lot of people at the time, I'm not going to say any names of the media members, but a lot of people at the time.
We probably have clips.
I was just about to say.
I'm not throwing anyone
We've got to begin this segment by saying Taylor and I did say we wanted a montage of all the 1010XL personalities defending Mike White over the years, but that would be too many montage clips to count.
You would not find my voice among that group. I was not on Keep Mike White, team Keep Mike White. I was on team we need a new basketball coach. And the reason for me was because, yes, while a great defensive coach, offensively, I saw players regress. Great shooters would get to campus, and then all of a sudden you'd see them go cold year after year.
R.I.P. Scotty Lewis's basketball career. Continue.
I mean, even Kayvon Allen was a guy that came in and was elite. Was so good from 3, and then you just saw these, and not the team overall.
Thank God Trey Mann declared when he did.
Yeah, for sure. And so in the end, I just felt like Florida's men's basketball program that had certainly been to the top of the mountain twice needed to go in a different direction. But I understand the group of not just 1010 people, but people throughout Florida who cover Florida men's basketball. They were more in line with Florida's not a blue blood. Gainesville is not a great place to be a men's basketball coach. You can't recruit that well there. Now, granted, the transfer portal has certainly changed a lot since all of these conversations. And so they believed that Mike White was pretty much the best that Florida was going to get. So at the time, I feel like in Jacksonville, Gainesville, probably Tampa, Orlando, Miami, you mentioned the name Mike White, and it was the most polarizing conversation of you're either for or against, and there was nobody in the middle.
Yeah, and the Mike White situation, especially because it's the Florida Gators, and we talk about now the multiple football championships they've won and the multiple basketball championships won.
3 and 3. And school with that many in both.
That is the standard there. The standard is you win championships. And I think that when it gets to the point where he was winning a game, there was the thing where it was like, oh, he had 4 straight years or something where he won a game in the NCAA tournament. And so everyone kept saying that, and that was kind of the defense of it. But I think Gator fans, the half that were anti-Mike White, were like, okay, but the standard's higher than that. And we've had that conversation here. Is your standard, okay, win the division and win 1 game in the playoff? Or is your standard, no, we're trying to get to the Super Bowl. It doesn't end just because you get there, you know? And so I think that was a lot of the conversation about that. And it's hard to separate sometimes because if you're still having good seasons and you're still making the tournament and people are talking about the states. He made the Elite 8, yeah.
Hang the banner 1 year.
If you're still having those conversations, some fans are like, is the grass greener on the other side? And you really don't know. The Todd Golden thing it could have not gone this way. And then you would be looking at, okay, well, what did we do? Because Mike White, at least we were getting into the tournament. But the thing is, the offensive efficiency is one of the biggest things. I saw that Mike White's final year there, the Gators were 131st in offensive efficiency. And this last year, they were 24th. So that already is that key note of the development that Todd Golden can bring to the Florida Gators. And that, to me, is what makes such a good basketball coach. And we've had the conversation this week, too, about the mindset of Todd Golden and the way he coaches too, because he's so progressive in the light of the analytics and all of those things. And I just don't see a world where Mike White embraces that even anywhere close to what Todd Golden
does. Let's be real here. I'm actually now realizing as I'm about to say this, I texted Dylan Denmark and Graham Marsh, and they'd never replied. If you had told me on November 10th that Todd Golden was still the coach of the Florida Gators, let alone had led them to a national title, I'm not sure I would have believed you. Well, I probably would have believed the national title part, but the being employed part was very much in question. And so, look, it's a crazy winding road that we took to get here.
You were meaning because of the off-the-court allegations.
Correct, right. And so, again,
not basketball related.
No. And I'm just saying that we are prisoners of the moment because, obviously, Florida just won the national title. I'm not going to defend Mike White. What I'm going to tell you is that ultimately this is a situation not too unlike what we're seeing in Jacksonville. And I'm not saying that Liam Cohen's going to win the Super Bowl year one here. But what I am telling you is that the enemy of good is great. It is one thing to be consistent. It is one thing to say, you know what, like we win in the world of college football. We win 7 to 9 games a year. We go to a bowl game every other year. We're consistent. Everybody graduates. It's good, all fine and dandy. But is that progress? At the same time, you always roll the dice by going away from consistency and risk it all blowing up, i.e. Nathaniel Hackett with the Denver Broncos once upon a time. At the same time, in this context of good versus great, good happens to be the way things currently are constructed and have been forever, and this is the way we've always done it, and that's the way we should do it, which the opposite is great, which is the analytics, which is the, hey, maybe there's a different way of thinking about college basketball in 2025. And you shouldn't run away from that just because it feels uncomfortable. And the same can be said for NIL, the same can be said for transfer portal, and they should not necessarily be staples of your program, but they have to be part of the operation, and I just don't know. And look, Mike White has mined the transfer portal during his time at Georgia. He's certainly paid Asa Newell a considerable amount of NIL money to come to Georgia for his lone season of college basketball.
And now heading to the NBA draft.
But the bigger argument to be made is that Mike White represents what the system is, what college basketball has been. And Todd Golden, a bit of a risk, more ways than one, but certainly on the analytics side for Scott Strickland, because that is what the belief is where college basketball is headed, but we hadn't actually seen a tangible return. People talk about Grant McCaslin. People talk about Ben McCollum at Iowa now. Like they talk about when he was at Drake. The idea of analytics. The idea of, hey, maybe you need to have 5 shooters on the floor as opposed to you need to have a traditional center. You need to have guys who can play defense, this, that, and the other. Maybe there's a different way of thinking, and it can scare people to go the opposite way of history.
If you win 7 to 9 football games a year, you're going to the bowl game every year. But now the new standard to me, and college football has pretty much delivered it on a silver platter to the coaches. You either make the college football playoff and you're one of the 12 teams, or you don't. Yeah. Before, when it was 4 teams, and obviously before that, when there was the BCS voting system, I think it was different to understand the parameters and the standards that are set. Now,
and some of those bowl games you were still excited about.
Sure.
Now it almost be like if you're not in the college football 12, if you can't make 12, there's a problem.
Right. And so for that, it's a different standard. For men's basketball, there are certain schools that making the tournament, that is phenomenal. Yeah. Whether that's UNF or JU, like making the tournament, winning the entire conference and making the tournament, that is a standard, and you are thrilled. And then there are other teams like those blue bloods that we talk about. And now obviously Florida since 2000, people are putting as a new blood. You have a different standard. It is not just make it to the tournament. It's not just win one game. It is you want to be amongst the Elite Eight, the Final Four, and then eventually a national champion. And Todd Golden's so fascinating because Scott Strickland interviewed him via Zoom. Like he did not even meet him in person before he hired him as the men's basketball coach when he was at San Francisco. But Scott Strickland saw what Todd Golden was doing there was going to translate because of his incredible, to me, Todd Golden's best quality is his recognition of talent. That talent evaluation that he can figure it out before most people can figure it out. And that's why he has all those under-recruited guys. That means he will be a star regardless of what exactly his team looks like year in and year out. He doesn't have to play the way that this team played for him to be successful next year. He'll figure out a different way. It's not about the individual players.
Well, he showed us that through the tournament because he won different ways every single round.
Every single game. Yeah. By the way, do y'all like Comeback Kids or Cardiac Crocs as nicknames for this?
I don't know.
Cardiac Crocs.
Cardiac Crocs sounds way
I just think of a shoe when I hear Croc.
Of course, but Crocodiles,
Comeback Kid is one of my favorite hardcore bands, so I like that one.
I do want to, just for argument's sake, just put it out there into the ether. Mike White's winning percentage at the University of Florida over 7 years, 61.7%. Todd Golden's winning percentage in 3 years, 69.7%.
Mike White's not a bad basketball coach. That was never
and
the
that's
argument.
the point. He's
Mike
not
White's a great human, and he's a good coach. He just wasn't the right coach to fit the University of Florida.
And
by
that's
the
why
way,
I compared it to the Jaguars, because this is the same exact but different conversation we were having. Doug Peterson's a good person.
Yeah.
He's a good coach. But was it the right coach for the right system and this group of players at this juncture of their playing career?
No, because they weren't advancing.
Yeah, and that's the development, and I keep going back to that offensive efficiency. And when I said that number, the 24th was last year, so the Gators ended last year with 24th, the top 10 this year.
First, I'm pretty sure. They ended up third
Mike White
technically, but
was
story for another time.
131st his final year at Florida, and last year he was 165th at Georgia.
Right.
So his offensive efficiency, it's something there lacking, and so the defense, I think, has helped him get over and win more games than maybe someone else that can't coach defensively the way that he can. But you want that offense. It's the same with the NFL. If you're not scoring, like, great, I'm cool. It's cool that you have a top 5 defense, but we're in a league where you've got to be able to score.
By the way, the Florida men's basketball practice complex, well, men's and women's, will undergo an $8 million renovation before next season.
Wow.
So Todd Golden was already really good at the transfer portal, but talk about getting recruits and elite athletes.
And showing a trophy.
Exactly. And then now, he has the trophy. 21.1 million people watched that ball game. So he's got even more, enticements to bring people to Gainesville.
And yes, we see you, Hef, on the YouTube chat line trying to quote hackers' tweets that have now been obtained by
The
Old Takes Exposed.
They've
freezing
also gotten
cold
to
takes.
Yankees. If you tweeted during that stretch and you were Team Mike White, Team Keep Mike White, then yes, your takes have probably been exposed. One final Florida note, the spring game is on Saturday, and we will have that on 10 a.m. from 1 to 4 p.m. ahead of the Florida-Missouri baseball game, which you heard Molly say that 3-game series begins tonight at Condren Park at 7 p.m. All right, our Terminix Pest of the Day is on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Take Jacksonville with you.
There's no place like home.
Listen to 1010XL away from home.
Oh, but anyway, Toto, we're home. Home.
Download the 1010XL and XL 92.5 FM apps for free on Apple and Android devices.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both with everyday deals at Sonny's? Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all you can eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Freshen up your home this spring with a custom organization solution from my friends at Closets by Design. Mia here for a limited time. Take advantage of our spring special and enjoy exclusive deals on closets, garages, home offices, and more. Get 40% off plus an additional 15% off and free installation with 12-month special financing. Spring on this deal before it's gone. Call today to schedule your free consultation at 1-800-293-3744. That's 1-800-293-3744.
St. Johns County parents, does your kid have energy to burn? Want them to play a sport for their middle school? Sign up today for the St. John's Middle School Athletic Association. Tackle football, dance, and cheerleading. Who doesn't want their kid to be the next NFL quarterback or dance floor diva? You know how fast your kid can go from playing Xbox to practicing their touchdown dance or sideline cheer? Visit sjmsaa.org. sjmsaa.org.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700, offices Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
One of the best things about being on the First Coast is standing at the center of the golf world.
Yes, it is.
Brunch with a Tour.
Tour news, tips, and inside info. Brought to you by
Clearwater Irrigation. 8:30 Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
Your home is your sanctuary where memories are made. Jack's homeowners trust Superior Fence and Rail to make their home feel safe, secure, and complete. Imagine a classic wood fence for privacy, sturdy aluminum to protect your pets, or a modern vinyl design that boosts curb appeal. Every fence is built with precision and pride, standing strong in every season.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars. Make them your AC partner. With honest cost estimates before they start the work with no hidden fees, call 877-4300 for Florida Home AC.
David here with Royal Pest Services. Man, don't let your yard be torn up by that heavy aeration machine this spring. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to learn more about our granular aeration. Broadcast throughout the tree and shrubs to break up that compacted soil. Visit RoyalPestServices.com.
Need or want cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Joe C. for Preferred Roofing, reminding you your roof is more than just felt and shingles. It's a system that not only keeps your home dry, but also impacts your heating and cooling bills. Preferred Roofing and Construction is a GAF Master Elite roofing contractor lauded for having the ability to educate and inform homeowners on their options. Why GAF and Preferred Roofing? They're veteran-owned and operated with ties to Duval for decades. A family business ready to make sure your family has a good roof over its head. Log on, preferredroofingjax.com.
Prosser here. Spring has sprung, and it's a great time to sell your house, but only if you have the very best on your side, and those very best are Chad and Sandy Newman. Spring selling season's here. Rates are down. Activity's up. It's the best time in years to sell your home, in fact, but there are homes sitting on the market. They don't have the right representation. That's where Chad and Sandy step in. Maybe you're worried your home needs repairs or updating and it won't sell for a good price. Maybe your family's growing and you need more space. Whatever the reason that you need to sell your home, Chad and Sandy deliver this promise to you. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Sounds pretty hassle-free to me. Take it from Mike and Rosemary in St. Augustine. We were determined to buy an affordable home in a specific school zone, but we didn't qualify for the loan needed to get one. Chad and Sandy's team worked with the lender, negotiated a higher qualification price, lower interest. It was huge, $200 less per month. Do it today. Call 414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WEALTH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WEALTH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WEALTH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. 1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
I regret to inform you, Lauren Brooks, the Rory McIlroy haters, they're back on the text line. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 904-641-1010. This one's from 294. He reminds me a lot of Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore. I don't think I've ever heard Rory McIlroy compared to Adam Sandler in my life.
Interesting. He didn't tee off until 112, so I don't know where the hate's coming from, but
already going.
Y'all, I guess, have at it. By the way, there is no longer a solo leader at the top of the leaderboard, as we have a three-way tie at 3 under. Scotty Scheffler, Terrell Hatton, and Justin Rose all at 3 under. So Steven Yeager now 2 under. He must have had some bogeys. No fun for him. But yeah, I'm going to cool down with the fact that the Masters is underway. I'm wearing my Masters shirt. We had someone that used to work for 1010XL go to the tournament one year and bring us back some gear. And since I've never been, I'm so thankful because I get to pull it out once a year and rock it while I eat my pimento cheese.
I do love pimento cheese, though. And that's what you always see, the menu that gets posted. I saw an article yesterday where someone was like, it's talked about the most affordable food, obviously, of like the tournament,
Yes,
of the PGA tournament.
The merch, not that cheap.
Yeah, definitely not. But he was like, so I'm going to go through and actually rate everything. So this guy has a whole blog of him trying
Love
every
it.
single thing at the Masters and then like giving you a star rating on it. So in case you ever are going, you at least have it.
I've heard the egg salad is delicious. I know people that go, maybe not every year, but fairly often. Had some friends go yesterday. And I've heard the egg salad sandwiches are amazing. And yeah, you always have to get the pimento cheese. Brian will make pimento cheese for us this weekend and have that, which is delicious.
I'll take some, Brian.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I may need to go buy some now. Yikes.
You can also buy some for sure. All right, time now for the Terminix Pest of the Day. As always, Terminix will protect your house from pests, from termites, and certainly from mosquitoes. They're going to come to our house and take care of our mosquitoes. I'm so excited about that. You can find them online at Terminix.com, Terminix. And of course, they take care of Everbank Stadium, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, ViStar Ballpark, all of your favorite event venues around town. Okay, so we know that some schools are not having spring games, and I've ranted and raved about how I hate that for fans. I understand it for coaches. I hate it for fans. Well, Georgia is having their spring game on Saturday. G-Day will happen. But it's not going to be televised or streamed. So unless you physically go to Athens, Georgia on Saturday to watch the game and you're a Georgia fan, you cannot see it. And again, I understand from a coaching perspective, from Kirby Smart's perspective, why he doesn't want coaches to view the spring game and poach some of his players. But come on, man. For all the fans in Jacksonville who aren't planning and aren't able to make it to Athens on Saturday, you want to be able to see Gunnar Stockton and the guys that are going to replace the defensive studs that are leaving for the NFL draft. And you can't see your game? Like, what have we gotten to in life that we're this paranoid?
I guess they also want people there, maybe. Like, they want to push people actually coming to Athens.
But people, there are certain games every year that have or schools that have a tremendous attendance for the spring game. For the longest time, I know Nebraska was sold out every year.
Yeah.
Ohio State's attendance, I would assume they're going to be sold out this year. Michigan's really good. Tennessee's is good. Alabama's is good. Georgia's is good. Florida's is actually not as good, but I bet this Saturday will be really good, not because people are going to see DJ Lagway throw the football necessarily, but because they are celebrating the national
They're on a bit of a high right now.
Yeah, the national champions that have come back from San Antonio, the men's basketball team. But for me, it's frustrating because one of the things that I have loved my whole life is the spring football game. You get to learn about the new guys and you get to see who you are going to keep your eye on that season, who's the stud receiver that you had only heard about, but now you want to actually get to see them because the footage from practice is not ubiquitous anymore. So Kirby Smart, Georgia, anybody else that's not having a spring game, you are already my pest of the day.
Yeah, Notre Dame's is also Saturday. Theirs will be on Peacock if anyone wants to watch that
For
one
sure,
aside from
you
me.
want to know who's going to be the quarterback.
Yeah, that is one of the big things. There's 3 guys that they say are truly competing for that spot, and so that is obviously an interesting thing. I just got this notification and it made me laugh, Mia. So it said that the Wisconsin players are doing 42 push-ups after practice as a reminder of unacceptable point total yielded to the Hawkeyes.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
Honestly,
but 42 push-ups is not uncommon.
We've come speaking of the enemy of good is great. We have come so far from Brian Ferentz's archaic Gary Barta on his way out the door as the athletic director imposed 25-point per game rule. We have come so far. Shout out to my girl, Beth Getz, one of 2 female athletic directors at the Power 4 level. Beth said, I don't care that the Ferentz family is basically royalty out here. I don't care that they've been here my entire professional career. I'm firing your son because this is stupid. I'm going to go find another OC. I'm going to make you, Kirk, go find another OC. And oh, look at that. Tim Lester drops 45 plus on your heated rivals to the Northeast.
Apparently 42 push-ups.
There you go.
Speaking of females in this business, Taylor, you wanted to shout out Gino Auriemma.
Oh, hold on, why?
You sent us a video clip.
I forgot. Yes. I said that the other day. So it was, I saw this clip and he was talking about, he was doing his presser after the game and he was looking around in the room and he was like, I just want to give a shout out because I've never seen so many women at a press conference before. And I just wanted to congratulate you guys. Like, this is so cool. Like, keep doing it. And I was like, oh, that is like a cool little thing that he did. And it's in the middle. Like, he's just sitting there talking in the middle and is observing and seeing that and not in a way of being like, wow, not a Cam Newton kind of like, oh, I didn't know you could do this. this. But more so, this is really cool. And I love that all of you guys are here and care enough to be here.
I love that we've gotten to chat with Jordan Rodriguez several times because she was the female reporter that Cam Newton was like, you're asking me about routes? Like a woman asking about routes. All right, let's get it back to the NFL. Ty Dunn joins us next from GoLongTD.com. It is Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Now, a Masters update on 1010XL, brought to you by TopDressing.com and St. John's Middle School Athletic Association.
From the Augusta National Golf Club, Westwood One Sports presents this special report on the Masters. I'm Ted Emmerich. Only a few more groups left to tee off in the first round. Two-time U.S. Open champ and YouTuber Bryson DeChambeau, you pick what comes first on that resume, is minutes away from sticking his tee in the earth, and DeChambeau expects to be in the conversation this week.
Knock on wood, I feel like I'm in a great place. I'm excited. I played well last week, and hopefully that translates to this week. You never know, right? Every week's going to be different for a tour player. But hopefully that I have all the pieces dialed in together.
Augusta National lives rent-free in DeChambeau's head. Remember, he called it a par 67 for him a few years ago before being humbled. But last year, DeChambeau enjoyed by far his best finish at the Masters, a tie for sixth. And this week, in the days leading up, he hit more balls on the range than any golfer, cycling through driver heads, the so-called scientist trying to find the perfect one. You're listening to coverage of the 2025 Masters on Westwood One.
Every day when we're on the road, people around us endanger themselves and others by looking at their phones while driving. There's the sneak-a-peeker who darts their eyes between the road and their texts, or the nightlighter who illuminates their car after dark. If that's you, reconsider before you find yourself becoming the fender-benderer, the got-a-ticketer, or worst of all, the driver who killed someone. Put the phone away or pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
Springfest at Lowe's means can't miss savings for your home and lawn. Right now, buy 3 bags, get 3 free on Miracle-Gro 3/4 cubic foot all-purpose garden soil. Plus, buy 2, get 1 free on select exterior paint and stain via mail-in rebate. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/16, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. While supplies last, selection varies by location. See rebate form for complete list of eligible products. Offer excludes clearance and mistints and can't be combined with any other offer, promotion, discount, or coupon.
Stephen Yeager had sole possession of the lead early in this first round at the 89th Masters before a double bogey at 13. And now there's a familiar face on top. As we check the NHTSA leaderboard, put the phone away or pay. Paid for by NHTSA. Yeager dropping to 2 under par at 3 under. Tied for first, Scotty Scheffler, winner of 2 of the last 3 Masters. Scheffler, no bogeys on the card through 10. Birdies at 2, 4, and 8, including a 62-foot bomb at number 4. So Scheffler on his way to Amen Corner now. A couple of Englishmen also at 3 under with Scheffler. Tyrrell Hatton, who's making the turn, and Justin Rose, 2-time Masters runner-up, 3 birdies in the first 3 holes, a par at 4. So Rose very early in his round, but he shares the lead with Hatton and Scheffler. From Augusta, I'm Ted Emmerich, Westwood One Sports.
Mia here, and I've got a question for you. Have you ever wondered why buy from Arlington Toyota? I'll tell you why. How about over 800 vehicles in one location? That is unheard of. And that means that Arlington has what you want. Camrys, Corollas, RAV4s, Tacomas, Tundras, even the all-electric B74X. Have you seen that thing? So good. And it's all waiting for you at Arlington. Or how about this reason why? 60-day exchange. So you can buy it, take it home, drive it around for 60 days, and then decide if it's not quite right. You can bring it back and exchange it. Now, that is total confidence. You even get Arlington's lifetime warranty with your new Toyota purchase. Why buy from Arlington? Because right now you can get financing as low as 0% on select new Toyota models. 0%. It just doesn't get any lower than 0%, and you can get it today at Arlington Toyota. That's why you should buy from Arlington. Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard, just quarter mile east of 295, or arlingtontoyota.com.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Start your Saturday with a whiff of the great outdoors.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Lagerman, and we bring you the fresh air of the great outdoors.
On the Nimnicht Outdoors Show, presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
Leon Cersei here. Let's be real. I used to eat like a lineman because I was one. And man, those habits are hard to break. I needed help to stop with the munchies and lose weight. But now, I'm bringing sexy back. I call Physician Guided Weight Loss. Their medical team is helping me shed pounds safely with a custom plan to help me slim down. And their firm pricing means same price every month. Hey, you want to bring sexy back? Visit Physician Guided Weight Loss at pgweightloss.com.
Your home is more than walls and a roof. It's where you breathe, drink, and power through life. At Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to keep it all running smoothly. From clean, cool air to clean water, reliable power to expert plumbing, we do it all. For over 35 years, families have trusted Donovan to make their homes healthier, safer, and more comfortable. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing today, 904-270-COOL, where health meets home.
Everyone seems to be in a time crunch these days. Well, don't forget you can always count on the cold case at Daly's. Always convenient, always cold. Whether it's the king of beers, Natty Light, Stella, or Cigar City, or Goose Island, or Bud Light Seltzer, dash into Daly's and grab one to go.
You'll always feel good when you send someone a Kuhn Flowers, floral, or plant arrangement. This is Max Fink with 1010XL, and no matter what the reason, Kuhn Flowers has always come through for me. Order online at kuhnflowers.com.
What is the smallest NFL stadium? The answer coming up.
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Soldier Field in Chicago is not only the smallest, but is also the oldest, built originally in 1924.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Hi, I'm Jeff Breyer, president of Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring.
And I'm Zach Breyer. When my dad started in business in 1990, I wasn't even born yet.
That's true. And after 35 years and nearly 20,000 satisfied customers, we literally have a showroom in every neighborhood.
So whether you need more outdoor living space with a glass or screen enclosure, or you're looking to transform your home with new flooring, we've got you covered.
Visit our websites, or better yet, do yourself a favor and stop by one of our showrooms on Phillips Highway to experience the Lifetime difference and receive 20% off your purchase.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Millard Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Millard Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Millard Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Millard Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
One more segment to go, and I am happy to report that our next guest has found cell phone service somewhere in Western New York. Ty Dunn of GoLongTD.com. So happy to have a friend of 1010XL joining us here on a Thursday edition of Helmets and Heels. We good? Signal's good, Ty?
We are good. We are good, Mia. And thank you so much for being so accommodating, as always. Yes, building a house out in the country about an hour south of Buffalo. And the cell phone service, usually it's spot on, but I don't know. I guess it was giving us some issues, so I figured I'd drive into town. I'm sitting in the parking lot of a Tim Hortons right now, so we're good.
Hey, love me some Tim Hortons. Also, we were supposed to have you last week. I know you got sick once you got back from the Breakers in West Palm Beach, the NFL owners meeting. So this is a long time coming, but it is so just warming my heart right now to hear your wonderful voice. Let's start with those owners meetings. Big picture for you, the biggest piece of evidence, the biggest intel that you gained last week in West Palm was blank.
The NFL owners still are resistant to own their own product. Like, they're trying to find this utopian middle ground that doesn't exist. It'd be really nice if all these men in suits just decided that football is a violent game and it must be played by violent people, and all this tush-push talk. I hate even bringing it up because I'm so sick of talking about it, writing about it, thinking about it. It's so stupid. Like, nobody can stop it. So I guess we've got to ban it, and that's it. I mean, the Bills are at the forefront of this thing in my backyard. I mean, Sean McDermott's the head of the competition committee. They ran the play themselves. So if it's so dangerous from a health and safety standpoint, why did you run the play? I guess Raheem Morris, I talked to him a little bit about it. I was at his table, and he made a few good points. He's like, I don't want to ask my players to do something to stop the play, as in like submarine, but I don't know. If we're going to live in hypotheticals about what could be, like, guess what? It's football. Players could get hurt. That's been the case forever. If we want to be scared of our own shadows, let's just put flags in our belts and be done with it. So, yeah, that was a little infuriating out of West Palm.
Yeah, Ty, I think we've had that conversation on here a lot where I feel like sometimes the NFL is a little contradictive of certain things when it comes to that safety. They use the safety in certain terms, but then in other times it kind of feels like they're neglecting it, which bothers me. And a part of that is one of those rule changes, which I wanted to ask you about too. They were talking about some of the calls now that may be reviewable, and they can pick up flags on certain things like the face mask now that they couldn't previously. But the whole point of this to me, where people were kind of up in arms about that face mask, was that there were multiple missed face masks last year, and that caused some issues during games, but that is not being really addressed right now.
And that's that muddy middle ground of, like, how officious should we get with the game? Because, we all want a perfectly called game, and for every play on the field to be pure and called correctly. But if we're going to review everything, if we're going to second guess everything, if we're going to allow officials to, go under the hood, and we're going, I like the idea of an official up in the sky, having those eyes in the sky, because maybe those decisions can be made a little quicker. I feel like we do have to get to a point where, there's going to be human error out of these officials. You hope it's not egregious, and you hope it's not in a big spot, but it's bound to happen. And anything that kind of slows the game down, I'm not for. So, yeah, at least I hate this time of year. Honestly, I go to the owners' meeting, like, to network and see some of these GMs in a relaxed setting. Everybody's undefeated. Everybody's feeling good about their teams. And also South Florida, a lot of players hang out down there. So I met up with some players. But I absolutely hate this time of year because it's like the owners and the teams look at it as an opportunity to just add more needless rules and needless bureaucracy to a rule book that already has enough of that nonsense. So, I know we're talking about it here, but it makes me sick to my stomach.
I agree with you. Ty, you are known for your long-form pieces on golongtd.com that really give readers such great insight into teams and into the players. Like you mentioned, you were just down there to talk to some players. Who right now on the Jaguars would you love to profile?
Ooh, good question. This team has changed so much. I guess it'd be Brian Thomas, though, right? I mean, this is a wide receiver who is going to be a star if he's not already a star, and what he was able to do last season. I mean, everybody down there appreciated it, I'm sure, but outside of Duval, I'm not sure how many people even noticed the season that he had as a rookie. And hell, there were people here in Western New York banging the drum that Brandon Beane and the Bills should trade up for this receiver and part with future draft capital. When it's all said and done, they probably are going to kick themselves that they traded down and took Keon Coleman instead of aggressively trading up for Brian Thomas because everything, the speed, the length, the playmaking, the explosion. It's very rare you see a wide receiver have the entire package immediately in the NFL, and in bad situations, too. I mean, this was a bad football team and a bad offense, and he still found a way to be uber productive. Would love to sit down with him and learn about, his past and his future.
Ty Dunn of golongtd.com. That's where you can find all of these wonderful long-form profiles. You also can find Ty's old cohort at the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, Bob McGinn's 12-part draft preview, everything he's heard from scouts over these last 5 to 6 months. It's incredible intel, and it's why you should subscribe to golongtd.com. I'm not just saying that because Ty's my friend, but because you also get that insight from Bob McGinn that you can't get anywhere else. And Ty, we're going to ask you about those draft profiles here in a second, but first, knowing that you do cover the team in your backyard in Buffalo a bit, Eric Ciano, the longtime strength and conditioning coach, basically shown the door earlier this year, comes down here to Duval County. What are the Jaguars getting in a new leader in the weight room? And can we say, I don't want to speak too prematurely, could the Jaguars strike lightning twice in the same locale in that once upon a time Heath Farwell was shown the door and obviously has now coached one of the better special teams units in the National Football League the last 3 years?
Yeah, there's something about that pipeline, if you will, right? You can throw Chad Hall into the mix, too. I know he left for the New York Giants. He's linking up back with Brian Dable, but he worked his magic with Brian Thomas and the rookie receiver. I think he had a huge part of that. And, yeah, Heath Farwell is one of the best special team coordinators in the NFL. And there's a lot to his departure. I guess I've got some of the detail in our 3-parter on Sean McDermott and the Bills on how a lot of these coaches left. It's a little more complicated than just kind of like shown the door. I think that a lot of these coaches, a lot of them have taken lateral jobs years past by choice. They wanted a fresh environment, fresh atmosphere, new start. And that was the case for him. I'm not sure about Eric Ciano. I wish I knew exactly what went down there behind the scenes because he was an institution with these Bills for several years. I mean, you just saw him around the team. He did such a spectacular job with a lot of these young players, getting them up to speed. I mean, if you're winning the division every year, the man behind the scenes who's working on your athleticism and your strength and your physicality, he must be doing something right. So I've only heard really, really good things about Eric from players on the roster. So I think the Jaguars got a really good one there.
Ty, when we talk about this upcoming draft and that 5th pick, which we've obviously talked about a ton by now, we heard from Liam Cohen yesterday, and we've heard from inside the building the last couple weeks, and it kind of seems like their shared sentiment, Liam Cohen hinted at it a bit yesterday, that they may go just best all-out available at number 5 and not worry so much about actual positional need because there are obviously a lot of holes on the Jags right now. But to you, what does that tell you about what maybe James Gladstone, Tony Baselli, and company think about where the roster is right now?
Yeah, there's 2 ways to rebuild, right? Like when you've got a new regime, and I don't know what's right, I don't know what's wrong, and it might even be something in the middle because you have seen teams like the Giants, for example. They come in with the Buffalo guys, Joe Shane, Brian Dable. They have a core that was drafted by Dave Gettleman, and then they kind of strip down the roster around that core. But like at the center of it is a Daniel Jones, and you make the playoffs with Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, and you're feeling pretty good about yourselves. But I don't know, it kind of like fools you into thinking you're a contender and you're ready to win when you're really not. So you give Daniel Jones the big contract, and now you're trying to escape that contract, and you're starting over. And now you've got Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and who the hell knows who is your quarterback in the future. So that makes you think, okay, is it better? I mean, obviously the Jags have their quarterback, but philosophically, is it better to really tear things down, start over, and get your kind of guys, or, really kind of take it case by case and stick with a lot of guys? I was surprised to see the Jaguars move on from as many players as they did. I mean, we've talked about a lot of these guys, right? I mean, gosh, it wasn't too long ago we were talking about Christian Kirk. But if you believe in your system, if you've got the trust in ownership and the leash from ownership to really see this thing through 3 years, 5 years, and you've got the time to really build something special, and you've got that quarterback in place, which they believe they do, I think you can do what the Jaguars have done and just tear this thing down. They really have. And, yeah, in the draft, you're just taking the best player. I know every team says it, and a lot of times it's BS, and they've got a position in mind. But for the Jaguars, I mean, it's kind of a rough spot because you know that there's, those three guys at the top, but you just take the best player, and you don't even think twice.
Ty, we're short on time, but I will read for our listeners, a sampling of Bob McGinn's scouting guide on golongtd.com. This is on Georgia offensive lineman Tate Ratledge. He does have a real nasty streak. I just thought he was a below-average athlete, a phone booth brawler, his stiffness and balance issues. If he didn't have the mullet and attracted all the cameras and attention, I doubted. He's a good, solid player who will be drafted as a backup guard only. That's been a fan favorite on this show. Taylor loves the mullet. Just give our listeners an idea. If we're to find a perfect match, an intangibly rich match for the Jaguars, which of the 12-part series from Bob do you say, ooh, this is a guy who Jaguar fans, you need to go read this on golongtd.com right now?
Oh, my God. I mean, in a dream scenario, right? Like Travis Hunter just falls right down to the Jags. But I guess that's probably not going to happen. Man, I think you've got to go line. And it's not a great year to find your special offensive tackle who's going to be there 15 years. But Campbell, I know we've been debating Campbell's arm length forever. He's just a good football player out of LSU. I mean, wherever you play him, he might not be a left tackle. He might be a right tackle. He might be a guard. It's not necessarily the kind of draft pick that's going to have everybody doing the Duval chant and throwing back drinks and celebrating all weekend. But they need some meat and potato picks on both sides of the line, and that seems like a pretty damn good place to start.
Your friend Matt Hayes just walked into the studio, and I know that was music. He's saying hello to you. That is music to his ears to hear that Ty Dunn votes offensive line ball players, Matt Hayes.
Ty's my boy.
Meat and potatoes for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Ty,
we appreciate you. We appreciate you driving to Tim Hortons just so you could talk to us for 15 minutes. Talk soon, brother man.
Any day, anytime. And, hey, it beats shingles last week. So we
I didn't want to reveal what your medical condition was, but as you...
I don't give a damn. That's fine. Anybody who's had shingles can relate. It's hell. It sucks.
You're the best, Ty. Appreciate you.
Glad you're feeling better. Yeah. All right, Ty, let's say hello to Ty's friend Matt Hayes.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Also, glad you're feeling better, Matt. They made their Masters picks yesterday. Did you make yours?
I did.
And who you got?
I can't remember. I was in a
fever dream.
A bit of a haze yesterday.
Bit of a fog that has cleared a little bit with Z-Pack and sweat and sun. But
I hope you picked PGA Tour golfers, not live golfers. I'll just leave it at that.
I picked one, Rahm. No?
Now you remember. Ugh.
Isn't Rahm he's towards the top right now, right?
Rahm is currently
He's
even.
been hurt most of the year.
Yeah.
So
He's currently even. He just teed off. He's even through one. But yeah,
so he's 3 strokes off. Colin Morikawa has surged into a tie for first, 3 under. Justin Rose also at 3 under.
Actually, I know who I took. I took Xander and Maverick were my other two.
Okay. Yeah, so Scheffler, Terrell Hatton, and Justin Rose, all a 4-way tie atop the leaderboard at 3.
You took the wrong German. I'm sorry. At least for one day.
All right, Matt, what's coming up?
Masters, of course.
Yep.
Of course, we're going to get into some NFL, our college football Leon Sweet 16. 2001 Canes against the 88 Fighting Irish.
Ooh, spicy.
I think it's interesting how, the 2001 Canes get a little break considering the other first 2 games we've seen in the Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm.
No offense, TD.
It's okay. And I'm sure Jags as well.
Everyone on the text line says Leon is setting it up for the 01 Canes.
Yeah, he's doing this intentionally.
Yeah. All right, thanks.
That's
Matt.
what convicts do.
Thank you, ladies.
Yeah, exactly.
The fix is in.
Masters updates come your way shortly. That'll do it for us today. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks, and we do appreciate Ty Dunn's time. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow, but don't go anywhere. XL Primetime comes up next.
All over you.